Why is it already cold? And nothing ain't even happened yet. Am I begging it? I'm begging it. I'm begging it. But that sounded cold already. That is already cold.
Are we begging it, chat? Are we begging it? Like this is the question that we need to ask ourselves. Are we begging it? It's been a while since we've done a Beyond Legend episode. But I think today called for it. As you can see, I'm not delayed. I'm on time. And there's just a lot of like, I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened to the community over this break week, but I saw a collection of probably one of the worst things my eyes have ever seen. Like there's so much to unpack from what I saw, right? Because we're definitely going to talk about what my title is saying, because my title is definitely based on a few things that I've seen, but it's a little bit bigger than that, right? So some of the things that have ruined my some of the things that ruined my week completely, like some tweets. Let me see if, because Glam sent them to me. Let me see if I still have them. Let me see if I can find them. Let's see. Let's see. No, I'd have to scroll up. I have to scroll up to see it. All right, so one of the ones, like for example, one of the ones I saw was like Nami, this whole agenda about Nami being shipped with Vivi, right? And Nami hating men and it being canon. I don't know where that came from, but I saw that discourse going on and I instantly wanted to jump off a bridge. And then I saw the Celestial Dragons are Zionists. I saw Emu is Yahweh and the Nefertari were Egyptians that were fighting against the Israelis and Moses was evil. I was seeing Luffy is a terrorist. One Piece is not political. One Piece is political. Luffy holding a Palestinian flag. I was seeing so many things. And yeah, your chat, you're saying huh. I'm saying huh. Because I'm like, what? And then we got AI. Like we got Sora coming out. And now we've got AI images of Topman and Ginny. Now we're just creating poison with AI. It's just like, bro, what has happened? We've lost so many recipes. In the span of 7 days, we lost so many recipes. We lost a generation's worth of recipes. What happened to us? What happened to what happened? Like I just look, because it's like there's so many places to start from. There's so many angles, but why don't we just cash in on the title? Right? Why don't we start by talking about the title? Right? Because I think that's obviously what most of you guys are here for. Let's cash in on why people are here in the first place, right? So, Monkey D. Luffy, the mischaracterization of Luffy being heralded as some political hero, Luffy being called a terrorist when he's not a terrorist, people projecting current events on a story that's been written over 20 plus years. Like, let's really unpack this, because I think one of the biggest issues that we've had with One Piece getting more and more political and attacking more political concepts, we have One Piece fans begging it. And what I mean by begging it, I mean it's like you guys see something and you draw a parallel as if that's what Oda is trying to tell you, when that's not what Oda is trying to tell you. Like, why do we think that, and God, I gotta preface this. I have to preface this because I know there are people out there that will take one, like a 20-second clip and take you completely out of context. So let me preface all of this because I am not scared to say this. Children shouldn't be dying. What is going on in Gaza is wrong. I think anyone with a shred of morality can say that comfortably, period. Children shouldn't be dying. Children shouldn't be starving. People shouldn't be getting blown up. It just shouldn't be happening. Common sense. So let's get that out of the way because I really don't have time to deal with you guys' misconceptions of the words that I say. That's just very straightforward. That's pure morality. Moving past that, because that's common sense. Calling the celestial dragons Zionists, comparing them to the Israeli government, is short-sighted and you're projecting. How can you say, based on current events, that Oda has somehow seen what's going on and said, oh my God, this is obviously Zionist. This is obviously Israelis. As if no other genocide has happened in the world. As if there are not genocides going on in the world right now. Because of the popular one that's going on that everyone's talking about, all of a sudden now Luffy's holding Palestine flags. All of a sudden, the celestial dragons are Zionists. Please, open your mind. Read a history book. Oda can read a history book. There are way more genocides that have happened in this world that Oda could be referencing. There are way more tyrannical governments out there that have been out there that can he be referencing. And they're not even one-to-one. The celestial dragons do not even represent Zionists. They are not the same thing. It's actually insulting to the people that actually know what's going on in Gaza for you to actually compare what's going on with the celestial dragons to the Zionists in Israel. It's insulting to the people of Gaza. It's insulting to the Palestinians that know what's going on. They're like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? Don't just parrot things because it fits your agenda. That's the craziest statement I've ever said, considering I'm the agenda man. But when we're talking about real life topics, we're talking about real life nuanced topics that have spanned for hundreds of years. For you to project, for you to state that's obviously what's going on, create theories about it, and then blatantly misrepresent what's going on is headassery of the highest order. It's ridiculous. And this is when we get to things, right? This is why when we do things like agenda and we laugh and we joke around, it's because we don't try to take ourselves too seriously. But what One Piece fans do is that they identify their entire moral, they take everything that Oda puts on a piece of paper, make it their moral identity and their moral compass, and anything that they see wrong, they said, oh, Luffy would stand for this. Really? Really? Luffy would stand for that. So what about all the other countries in the One Piece world that are suffering at the hands of celestial dragons? Why is Luffy not running over there right now to save them? Because he doesn't give a shit about what's going on over there. The only time Luffy cares about what's going on around his surroundings is when it involves his friend or somebody that gives him a piece of food. Tama gave him some rice. Rebecca gave him some food when he was hungry in jail. What would have happened if Rebecca never gave Luffy food? Do you think he would have ever investigated what is going on in Dressrosa? Wondering why toys are walking around? Do you think Luffy would have actually done that? I want you to use your brains for a second. Like, think about it. Don't mischaracterize what Luffy is. Luffy is not a political hero. That is not how he's written. That is not his goal. Luffy has never stood for anything political in his entire life. Luffy is an apolitical human being. If you wanted to apply any political agenda to Luffy, he'd be an anarchist because Luffy does whatever the hell he wants. He wants to be free. So if Luffy destroys somewhere, he's just going to leave, and he's going to leave a power vacuum. And you know what happens when people leave a power vacuum? Dictatorships happen. Corrupt governments happen. I mean, look what's going on in the Middle East. They remove one leader, there's a power vacuum. All of a sudden, everyone's like, the USA are behind all of this. Look what they've done to Iraq. Look what they've done to Syria. That's what happens when you create a power vacuum. Luffy's, if you actually were to take Luffy seriously as a political figure, he would leave nothing but power vacuums everywhere he goes. And that is one of the worst things you can do without any plan or structure in place. If you want to present someone as a political stance, talk to Dragon. I slander Dragon all of the time. You guys hate it when I slander Dragon. But the one thing you can give Dragon is that he has at least some sort of goal to overthrow the government. So you should be parading Dragon. You should have Dragon holding the Palestine flag up. Because you know who would actually hold a Palestine flag up? Monkey D. Dragon. That's who would hold a Palestine flag up, not Luffy. It drives me insane. It actually drives me crazy. That's what Dragon stands for. But we don't want to do that. No, because we like Luffy. We like when he punches the bad guy, and that's it. And because everything Oda writes with Luffy, everything, Luffy is good, period. That's it. Because Luffy good, Luffy pure, we put him on everything. That's why we do that. And I'm actually getting tired of it. Like, I really am. Now, let me calm down a bit. Because there are instances, right? And there are going to be people. If Luffy did come across, say, a Palestinian boy named Muhammad or Omar or anyone who's Palestinian, just give me a common name, and he gives him some rice, Luffy would be like, wow, thank you, kid. Then he'd look around and be like, why don't you have any rice? He's like, well, this is what's happening. Then Luffy'd be like, oh no, I don't like that. That's not good. And then he'd go punch a bunch of tanks and go fight Israel. But then, so what happens then? So then what happens then? Luffy goes and fights Netanyahu. That's it. What does that solve? Do you see how ridiculous that sounds? But then imagine this. Here's the spin around. Imagine if Netanyahu's younger brother just so happened to get, I'm talking dangerous here. Imagine that he gave Luffy some food and he said, you know what? Those Hamas, man, they took everything from me. Luffy's like, really? How dare they do that? And then Luffy goes to fight Hamas. How would you feel? You'd feel upset. Luffy, how could you? The real Luffy would never. That's how he's written. So, but then there's also, now, let me give some credence to Luffy. At the bare minimum, Luffy seems to have emotional intelligence and to be able to tell when someone is good or not. So I just think that Luffy would probably be able to tell, like, I don't think this guy's a good person. Hopefully, you'd hope. So I'll give him some credit there. But you understand the principle that I'm trying to lay here, right? People would be like, oh, if Stalin gave Luffy some food, right? It's ridiculous. Like something like that. I don't know, man. So it's just like the conversation here is not that I am someone who has mastered the political climate. It's not someone that is super informed. This is somebody that knows that you cannot apply the character of Luffy to political jargon. You just can't do that. It doesn't stick. What people are doing is using him as a symbol against oppression. Because One Piece and the way Oda's been writing stories, writing this story, it's been about him going against oppression, oppressive systems, all kinds of different things. That's the point. So that's how you see what's going on in Nepal. That's how you see going on in Indonesia, where they're using the straw hat flag to go against their oppressive governments. For those who are not aware of what's going on in Serbia right now, they're dealing with the same thing. They've been dealing, people don't know what's been going on in Serbia, but what's been going on in Serbia has been crazy. They've been literally going against their government for the entire, how long has it been now? Like 5-6 months? It's been a long time. It's been a really, really long time, right? Whatever's going on in Congo right now, there's that going on. Yeah, almost the whole of 2025. So it's like you have to understand that these people are using the straw hat flag as a symbol of we're going to fight oppression. That does not mean that we can say things like the real Luffy would never. One of the things that really triggered me about this statement was when Anaki from the One Piece live action, the guy who plays Luffy, he did a McDonald's ad and people crushed him for it. You know, they're allied with Israel, so it's like, you know, really big problem. Oh my God, the real Luffy would never. If you gave Luffy a Happy Meal, a Big Mac, he'd eat it. If you told Luffy to stand in front of a camera and eat a Happy Meal, he wouldn't care. He'd be like, oh, food, this is great. Meshi. And eat it. Miku. He'd eat it. Why? Because Luffy doesn't care. He's not thinking about your political agendas. He's thinking about what serves me right now. What is it that I want to do right now? That's all Luffy's character has ever been. Luffy's character's sole purpose has been on, this is what I want to do right now in this moment. That to him is freedom. Doing whatever he wants in that moment. There's no agenda behind it. There's no political stance behind it. So we just, and it was always going to go this way because One Piece has now gotten more. One Piece has now gotten to a point where you can't say One Piece is not political. Like, you actually can't say that. And I saw people arguing against that. And you just can't say that. One Piece is very political. One Piece has always been political, right? And it's like, IDK, I think it's more about holding the holding the actor accountable. It wasn't about him being an actor. I don't think he's accountable for that at all. That's not his job. That's not his role. It's not his job to do that. But One Piece is very much political. That might go too far. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Seen too many people saying it sideways. Yeah, it looks, that's what I'm saying. So it is, but he got a sponsor. He made some cash. People care too much. He's doing what's in his contract, right? And that's what I'm saying. So that's why I found that very distasteful. And I think with One Piece fans in our community in particular, people love One Piece so much that they, what's the word I was using? Parasocial. They build a parasocial relationship with One Piece. They make it their identity, and then they use One Piece as their moral compass, which does not apply to the real world. Luffy as a character is not applicable in the real world. It's just not. Luffy, if you put him in the real world, would not work. Luffy's character is incredibly unrealistic. It's impossible to live in this world the way Luffy is and not cause more problems for the world. Because Luffy doesn't really take responsibility for his actions. Luffy just does what he wants, and the story warps itself around it. That's why Luffy gets away with whatever he wants to do. There's some times where there has been pushback on that, right? And I would say Fishman Island and Jinbei is a good example of that. I think Fishman Island and Jinbei was a great example of Luffy not being able to do whatever the heck he wants to do. And that's why I think it was nice to see that dynamic. And I think I feel like there was another example. I think there was another example. I'm not sure. Was it Wano with Momonosuke? No, I really think it was this Fish. I think it was this Fishman Island. That's what I think. Luffy is a representation of a dream in real life, maybe. You'd have to expand on that. What do you mean by that? One Piece political at the point anyone trying to change the status quo, real world Luffy is just a Florida man who has been running amok. Yes. Drum Island with Vivi? Yes, with Vivi. Vivi. Thank you. That was the other one. It was Vivi. Or when he punched Vivi. I remember that because Vivi wanted to do this without losing lives, and Luffy, honestly, one of the coldest, moments with Luffy. Actually, it was kind of clean. Actually, it was Vivi. That was another good moment. If a celestial dragon gave Luffy food, what do you think Luffy would do? Maybe eat it and he would never align with them? I don't think he'd eat it. I think the way Luffy has been written, Luffy is written to have this uncanny knack to tell whether someone is a bad person or not. But then there's also a case of, what if someone is not a bad person, but their experience makes them hate another side that is actually innocent? That's the only caveat I would say. When Luffy punched the Celestial Dragon of Sabaody, he completely knew that the Admiral would come, but he did it nonetheless. He would have ended his whole crew's life. I mean, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you said if you base your morality around fictional characters, you're probably not a good person. I wouldn't say that you're probably not a good person, but I would say that you are. Here's the problem with online culture. It's so easy to say whatever you want, put it out in the ether, and not receive the consequences of your words and actions. But the other side of it is that you just fall deeper and deeper into a vortex and a cycle of just mindless thinking. And then you get to a point where you say some things that are so outlandish that you're now borderlining on insanity is not the right word. There's a word, delusional, echo chamber. You're basically losing your consciousness and attachment to the real world. That's basically what I'm saying. Extremism. Someone says, "Oh my God, man, a person doesn't need to have a political affiliation to be a political actor. Luffy is 100% a political actor, even if his political affiliation is incoherent." But that's my problem. Luffy doesn't have a political affiliation. Luffy is written as an apolitical character. Luffy does not have politics. Luffy doesn't do things for the sake of policy. He doesn't do things for the sake of regimes. He doesn't do that. He just beats the bad guy and leaves, and he wants to eat. That's it. Psychosis is a right word as well. He's pro-freedom. That's it. Politics and policy are very different, yes, but they go hand in hand. Yeah, he has political impact, but Luffy is Luffy is a tool at the end of the day. We need to consider the narrative, though. The narrative says kind people and those that believe in friendship stand up to autocratic forces. I think that's important to recognize. So I do recognize that. I definitely recognize that. But then, when it comes to the narrative, for example, right? Luffy's kindness means that he now becomes a tool for someone that has a political agenda to enact their politics or their belief of how the world should be on their country. So, for example, Luffy becomes a tool for Rebecca and King Riku to free Dressrosa. Luffy becomes a tool for Vivi to free Alabasta. Luffy becomes a tool for Fishman Island to free Fishman Island. Point blank point. It's just that Luffy is a sword. Luffy isn't political. Luffy is a sword. He is a tool. That is it. So, fortunately for the narrative, the people that use Luffy as a sword are always going to be good-natured human beings. That's it. But I'm talking about in real life, that always won't be the case. And that's what I'm trying to get to, is that the narrative supports it. But when you apply it to the real world where politics are way more nuanced than you think they are, it becomes very dangerous rhetoric. That's my point. That's my point. Because in the political world, we really don't have all the information. And I'm not saying that to be positive or negative. I'm saying that there are so many wolves in sheep's clothing that if the right wolf in sheep's clothing can use a tool like Luffy to advance their political agenda, something really bad could happen. Something really, really bad can happen. The world of politics is basically about wolves in sheep's clothing. Unnamed 53, using kingdom is a great example. It's a great example. So like when I'm saying, facts, a wolf who mastered being a sheep. And that is, I mean, so if we're getting into things like Machiavelli, if you're getting into things like the 48 rules of power, Machiavellian principles that rule the political world, when you just think about Machiavellian principles in general, most people that are in politics have to understand Machiavellian principles. They have to. The world of politics is ruled by Machiavellian principles. Luffy does not care about anything Machiavellian. Luffy is a Machiavellian. I don't even think that's a real word, but you know what I'm trying to say here. So when you're talking about politics, a world that is strictly about the game of power and influence, Luffy doesn't care for all of that. That's not his bag. That's not his bag. That's not what he's about. So you cannot apply Luffy to politics when politics are so nuanced. Now, if you're talking about morality, morality isn't nuanced. Morality, to me, should be very black and white. This is right. This is wrong. When it comes to morality, sure. Luffy is morally good. He's chaotic good, and he's kind of an anarchist, but at the end of the day, he's a good person. So if you want to talk about morality, oh, that's a completely different conversation. Completely different conversation. But we're talking about politics here. That's completely different. So isn't the talking point more if Luffy was there, he would fight for these people? I would say if he was there. You can make that generalization, sure, because you would view that side as the morally good. So then here's my other question, right? And I'm gonna tread very, very carefully here because this is toxic. When it comes to war and conflict, both sides believe that they're just. Both sides have people that believe what they're doing is correct and just, and they believe that they're morally good. That may not always be the case, but they will. So it's really just a case of who gets to Luffy first. Now, common sense would say Luffy would go with the side that we're obviously thinking about. But when it comes to the real world of politics, the whole concept of history decides the winner is a real thing, unfortunately. Like it really is. As someone who's black, who's dealt with misconceptions about slavery, that lives in the United States where everything, both sides, Republican, Democrat, is like very toxic, very nuanced, a lot of misinformation going around all over the place. It is so nuanced. Like it really, really is. Because then you could say, for example, right, Luffy, here I'll insert myself into the conversation. Luffy would fight for the rights of African Americans, right? But then at the same time, if Luffy comes across a gang, and a violent gang, and they so happen to be black, and those black people are fighting against people who happen to not be black, and Luffy beats up those black people, some of you would call Luffy racist. I'm not saying you guys would. But then you would say, but the reason they're gangs is because of the systematic racism that's forced them into these communities to act this way. So it's not their fault, but you're siding with them? Do you know what we go through? Do you know what happened to us? Luffy, what about us? In that moment in time, you're caught in a nuanced situation right now. And I'm saying that's a possibility. Not saying that that's exactly the right thing that Luffy would do, but do you see how unique that situation could be? I tried my best to give that example. If it didn't work, it didn't work. History is written by the survivor? No, I agree with that, Pabusa Monkey. No, Luffy wouldn't hurt or want to hurt an innocent. But then let me ask you this. I accidentally defended Zoro agenda. It is what it is. Right? But how about this? The Marines that Luffy beats up, are they innocent or are they guilty? And that's a real question. The Marines that Luffy punches and pummels, are they innocent or are they evil? They're misguided, but they're innocent. So you can't say Luffy, they're just, okay, so because they're Marines, they're not innocent? Do you already see the nuance in that conversation? They're guilty for supporting the system? What if they don't know what they don't know the system that they support? Then they're just ignorant. A regular Marine with a wife and kids just shows up and they said, catch the pirate. He's trying to catch the pirate. Luffy uses Gear Third and kills him. If you don't think if you don't think the Marines are dying, then I guess, yeah, no one dies in One Piece, so there's that. Remember the fan letter. Right? Especially in the White Berets and the Shandorians. Yeah. The people under the Marines are guilty by association? I think that's a little disingenuous. Luffy's a pirate. So is Kid. So is Big Mom. So is Kaido. Luffy's guilty by association for being a pirate. Is that fair? Kaido literally enslaved an entire nation for 20 years. Big Mom destroys, kills countries for a wedding cake. They are both pirates. Luffy is a pirate. So by association, Luffy is guilty. Like, I just don't understand. This is disingenuous. No, it's not, though. There isn't a worldwide pirate alliance? Okay, all right. Pirates aren't political structure? I don't know. I don't know. Is Kaido not political if he's ruling an entire country? He has a goal and an agenda? That's a great question. Let me ask the chat. Are Kaido and Big Mom political? They're pirates, but are they political? Fujitora, Kobe, Smoker, they're all guilty. They're all guilty by association. Don't just throw words out and don't apply it to the same concept. Don't do that. Like, it's ridiculous. And then, oh, wait a minute. This is how unserious you guys are. Wait a minute. You're saying One Piece is political. And then I see some people in the chat saying that Luffy is a political agent. But now all of a sudden, pirates are not an association. Pirates are not political. You see, I just caught y'all. I just caught it. We did it. We're doing it again. You guys are doing it again because you don't want Luffy to be bad. You can't say the Marines are guilty by association and act as if they're not bad pirates. You can't do that. They're not a centralized organization. You don't need to be a centralized organization to be guilty by association. That's not how accomplices work. That's not how it works. No, you don't. You actually do not. You actually do not. We're saying the Marines are bad, so Kobe's bad. So Kobe's bad. Fujitora is bad. Smoker is bad. Tashiki's bad. They're all bad, right? They're all bad. That's ridiculous. That's not how the narrative paints him. That is not how the narrative paints it. That's just not how the narrative goes. Like, that's not what Oda is trying to tell you in the story. That's insane to say. It tells him you're not reading the story. This is ridiculous. You're playing favorites. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you can't, it's embarrassing. To me, honestly, it's embarrassing. It's genuinely embarrassing hearing you guys say that. You can't pick and choose when someone is bad by association and then when someone is not bad by association. I really do not think I'm fundamentally misunderstanding the point, because Garp said something very interesting, and Murphy pointed this out in her video. Garp said, Shanks has filled your head with lies on what a pirate is actually, because Shanks has this view, an ideal of what a pirate really is, while Garp and the rest of the world have a view of what pirates actually are. Matter of fact, every time Luffy runs into a new group of people, damsel in distress, and they hear they're pirates, what is their reaction? Do they not get scared? Oh my God, he's a pirate. Oh my God. Why do they get scared? Countries that have been ransacked by pirates before. And you know what? They judge Luffy in the exact same way until they figure out who he is. And they're like, oh wait, Luffy's not a bad person. I guess not all pirates are bad. Right? Most of the time, most pirates are bad. Most pirates are bad. That is the truth. Like, I don't get it. Kid was crucifying people. Kid was literally crucifying people. Kaido was executing people, starving people, poisoning food supplies, killing people for wing cakes. They're pirates. Roger is hated by Squad because he killed his crewmates. Last time I checked, murder's bad. My mic is lagging out. Oh, thanks, Kev. I appreciate that. Do you know what I'm saying? The t-shirt I'm wearing is political. The t-shirt I'm wearing is toxic. It's two different things. It's not political. It's just toxic. It's different. It's different. So, this is... So, yeah, Kaido ran a slave state. Doflamingo took over an entire kingdom. So, I'm going to read this comment. Kobe, Tashigi, Smoker are somewhat guilty. I hope the narrative supports this. I mean, the whole Garp agenda is funny, but it's generally still a good point. I don't think anyone is saying war is wanted. Killing is not wanted, but we have opinions on what political entities are oppressive and need to be dealt with. Yes, there are certain nuances that don't make literally every group in that group bad. So that's fine. I'm just saying we can't get into generalizations. Your shirt is supporting animal abuse. As far as I'm concerned, this looks like a teddy bear, so it's not really an animal. So technically, you know, I can push that back. Technically, I'm just saying. Are pirates a single entity? Well, let me ask you a question. If you consider yourself a pirate, what does that mean? What does that mean? If you're a pirate, I am part of a group of people. If I'm a YouTuber, I'm a part of a group of people. So you know what I call someone else who's a YouTuber but is in a completely different sphere from me? Do you know what I call them? I call them my peer. Because that's in the English dictionary. So I have an association to my peer. If I'm a pirate and I run into another pirate, guess what? They're peers or they're rivals. Association. It's just English. It's actually English. So I just don't understand, like, why do we pick and choose what association means? See, when did the word association become only political? When? When did that happen? Is my mic really that bad, bro? Oh my god, this is so toxic. My bad, guys. I have to. Yeah, I'll figure this out. Semantics JD? I don't know, man. I'm just using the English dictionary. That's it. Oh, my mic's fine? Thank you. All right. The anti-chopper is anti-medicine extreme. Listen, if you want to come at me for the shirt, that's fine. It's rage bait. I'll take it. I'll take it. That's perfectly fine. It's like being a pirate is fundamentally wrong. Is the wrong thing to want to be. You might not pillage and steal, but you're still a criminal. Yeah. These are kids. I mean, in Panzu, I'm just a passionate man. I'm just a passionate person. That's it. I think it's crazy to say Luffy is apolitical when he engages in political acts regularly. Fighting for a moral belief is political. Fighting for a moral belief is a political. I don't think so. I guess it depends. What would you mention? What do you guys think is political? I guess that's the best question to ask. Because I can say moral can guide your politics, but morality isn't political. No, so Rafael, dude, there is no conclusion to this conversation, right? So morals are personal to you. That has nothing to do with politics. That's what I believe. So I'm gonna make this. Let's make this statement here, right? For those that are asking why are we having this conversation, is because most people are too scared to have this conversation because this conversation is just dangerous territory. In general, for a YouTuber to talk about this stuff, for someone who's a public figure to wait, willing to push back. Well, I'm talking to the chat, so the chat is pushing back to me. I'm not just yapping here. We're having this is a conversation with me in the chat. And I really just wanted to have this 1v1 right now, because then if I start talking with somebody, I'm not engaging with the chat. You guys' opinion matters here. That's why I'm talking to you guys. So again, this is a dangerous conversation to have, but it needs to be had. This conversation needs to be had because I want people to think. People are posting this on Twitter all over the place and they're not thinking. So I'm challenging everyone here to think. I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but I'm here to challenge. Because we got to challenge this stuff. You can't just say whatever you want and think it's correct. Like, you just can't do that. And the One Piece community, I would argue, is one of the worst communities in doing that type of stuff because it's such a political story. So it's like it's like we gotta make sure we're thinking about what we're saying. And yes, there's 100% chance I'm gonna get clipped. Somebody's gonna try and cancel me. Somebody's gonna take me out of context. That's just what it is. That's the game. But I'm not gonna hide from this conversation. It is what it is, man. People have tried to cancel me for smaller things. I trolled Mihawk and they called me Judy Legend. Like, at this point, it just doesn't matter anymore. They're gonna make fun of me anyway. It don't matter. It just doesn't matter. But at the bare minimum, the people that are here, the people that actually want to have the conversation, the people that actually are here to use their mind, I'm fine. I'm here for y'all. I'm not here for them. It's fine. I will get hey, if I get canceled for the shirt, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'll take it. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? Can you explain clearly what you are challenging? I'm challenging the concept of people applying Luffy to real world concepts as if it has any weight in the conversation, because it does not have any weight in the conversation, because Luffy is not an applicable character. He's not an applicable person for any real world conflict whatsoever. Another point that I'm challenging is projecting current events on the story of One Piece when it's not only disingenuous, it's flat out stupid. We have people openly saying the celestial dragons are clearly Zionists and they're clearly Israel, as if Oda is putting on a political cape for Palestine. And I'm like, that's as if there aren't other genocides and there are other toxic political regimes that Oda can't pull from. Like, we're talking about things like the Armenian genocide, the grape of Nanking. You want to look up some atrocities? That's an atrocity. What happened in Rwanda? What Leopold did to Congo? Slavery. I mean, Jesus is Lord. There are so many examples of history that Oda could use. You don't know what happened to the Kurds in Turkey. You don't know what's going on in Serbia. You don't know what's going on in Yemen, Nigeria. Nobody knows what's going on. But because this is the popular thing that they see, obviously this is exactly what Oda's doing. No, he's not. That's not what he's doing. And if you ask somebody, if you ask people who are actually from Palestine, you actually asked actual Palestinians, they'll call you fucking stupid. And I'm not joking. Stop projecting. It genuinely upsets me because it's just not, it's disingenuous. We got to be careful because this is not agenda no more. This is not memes no more. This is serious political jargon people are putting out. Serious political stances where people are actually dying. People are actually starving. And you're promoting something that Oda is writing as a political message? You're putting Oda at risk. You're compromising the story. One Piece is big enough that one moron could present that. All of a sudden, now One Piece is in danger. All of a sudden, One Piece is anti-Zionist. And now you get Oda in trouble because of this stupidness. Use your head, please. Be smart. Don't be disrespectful. There's other genocides going on in the world. Everything that's going on in Gaza is wrong. But because you see genocide in One Piece, doesn't mean that's exactly what Oda's talking about. It makes me sick. It actually makes me sick. It's so stupid. That's what I'm saying, Kev. They just need to be more aware. Just tell me you don't research what's going on in the world, please.
Is it bad to be anti-Zionist?
No, I never said that. Don't put words in my mouth. Don't do that. That's toxic. Nobody said that. Don't say that. That is very toxic. Do not say that. That is not what I said. Oda does good work representing the overall theme of oppression. Exactly. He's representing oppression. That's exactly what he's doing. That is exactly what's going on. Skypiea is about Native American apartheid. Fishman Island is civil rights battle. People need to have better understanding. I mean, there is so many. You could say it's similar. You could 100% say it's similar. You could 100% say it's similar, right? And if you wanted to use an example, right? This is an example I wanted to use. And exactly, it's not the writer's intention. Thank you. One thing that I wanted to say, you're gonna have to take the VOD down or every political rage bait. It is what it is. I don't care. Have you read Ace of Diamond or Real? I've watched it. I would say what's going on in God Valley, for example. A best way to describe what's going on in God Valley, I don't know. It's not the best way to describe it. But if you think about the grape of Nanking, and I'm saying grape for a reason because you can't say that on YouTube. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what happened, with what Japan did to the Chinese during their warring time. That is one of the most gruesome genocides we have ever seen, that's ever been recorded. And most people do not know that. in the space of like, someone's gonna have to correct me on this. This is like literally in the space of what, 2 weeks, right? Was it 2 weeks, guys? Someone in the chat's read the book. In a short amount of time, over 200,000 people were killed, butchered, and maimed in one of the most inhumane ways possible. Yeah, 2 million. Jesus Christ. Bro, if you read that book, you'll be nauseous. It's 2 million. 2 million. Nah. Yeah, nah. You won't be able to stomach it. You won't. Rwanda. Watch Hotel Rwanda. And MC Slayer, I agree. I agree. But people take it too far, MC Slayer, and that's the issue. No, they won't talk about that. They won't. They won't. I avoid that stuff. I'd rather not have my anxiety spiked. Yeah, don't do it. For the sake of humanity. Don't do it. Exactly, Yoshi. Cambodia, all of that stuff, man. It's dark. A skilled mascot, I understand that, right? And the point is that it's not to attack a supporter. It's about being careful with what you're saying and not getting too overzealous to the point where you project the intentions of the author, which are clearly not the intentions. I appreciate you, Ralph. Thank you, man. Thanks for coming to member. It's important. Right? There's so much bad stuff going, like, and as an African, right? As an African, there are things that are going on in Nigeria that is horrific. Venezuela is another bad one. Here's one that's even worse. If you read what Leopold did in the Congo, there's a special place in hell for him. Special. If you read what Leopold did, bruh. Nah, man. So I think and that's the thing. And skill mascot, that's exactly the point. I'm not upset for people speaking out about it. The reason people are projecting is because it's so open and it's so in our faces. So people can't help but to project because that's all they're seeing. Like, that's all they're seeing, and that's okay. That's fine. We're not playing a competition. This isn't the suffering. This isn't the suffering Olympics. It's not. I'm saying this to say that there are so many different examples of what's going on in the world that Oda could be drawing from. For you to specifically claim this is exactly what Oda is doing is what I'm saying is disingenuous. That is exactly what I'm saying. Don't sell Oda short is what I'm saying. Don't believe what Oda's doing is a political statement of what's going on in the current events, because Oda is writing a story at the end of the day. And he's taking inspiration from real world events. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's the thing, Skilled. It's the first time, which lets you know they're not informed. So when people are uninformed, and you should know this, Skilled, when people are uninformed, they project and they make bad decisions and they become dangerous. That's the sad part, is that they become dangerous. And things can happen when you're uninformed. And it's scary, which is why we got to have these conversations so people get informed. That's why we're having this stream right now. That is exactly why we're having this stream. Half knowledge is more dangerous than no knowledge. You could say ignorance is bliss, 100%. You could 100% say that. Yeah, being passionate and uninformed is dangerous. I mean, that's every bad regime that's come out. What is that Chopper shirt? It's a great shirt, man. Shout out to Mr. Morge. Yo, I hope you get clipped. People need to hear you. As long as you guys hear me, that's what counts. There are some super chats I need to read.
Dua, I think it's Dewey Mariel. Did you know the is $5, $5 Canadian? Did you know the Quran in the Hadiths, the book says Musa and Moses and Isa and Jesus are dark skinned? The Hadiths were written in 800 AD. I did not know that. I mean, we know they're Middle Eastern. I think that's what counts, you know, just from a historical context. One saying Oda writes about Palestine is wrong and stupid. Acting like Palestine hasn't been experiencing genocide for 80 years now, comparing to other atrocities, is ignorant. Just don't bring it into a conversation like this. One, that's not what I did. Two, I already mentioned how long it's been going on, because I did mention it's been going on for hundreds of years. So just don't misrepresent my point. That's all I got to say to that. We have £2 from Unreal. No joke. I appreciate this talk. Thanks, Jay. Anytime, sir. Jeff Maxi Loam for $2. I've seen the Straw Hat flags and the protests in USA. I've seen it too. El Neo, you should have covered this with Murphy and Brago in your next pod. It's an interesting subject, and yes, you can draw political lines to all characters. Yes, to a degree. I believe I've had this conversation with both Brago and Murphy. I've had this conversation with Brago many years ago, actually. So you guys should actually go check that out. If you go through my Brago collabs, we have actually talked about this subject. And we've talked about it with the world government. And I've talked about it with Murphy. I've had this conversation with both of them. El Neo, with One Piece, which is more of an adventure odyssey while being a nuanced commentary on life itself, people are comparing OP to current events because it's a good example that can educate fans in a positive way. I agree. That's why I made the One Piece is real series, because I do agree to a certain extent, but people can take it too far. Thanks for the $10, El Neo. Senior Frankie Master, $5. Hey Jay, much love to what you do. In other news, I will be generally disappointed if there's not a proper team between Garp and Dragon arguing. I would be disappointed too. Shout out to Raul for being a new member. Thank you, Raul. Appreciate you. Another example, Venezuela. Agreed. Thank you, Senior Frankie, for the $2. Brother Raul, gracias. Ex lo que haces. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Gracias. Keep enjoying what you do and keep the agenda alive. Thank you, Raul. Appreciate the 50 Mexican pesos. And Silver Okami, Oda writes his story to have this convo in a healthy way for kids. It's a pirate story. For adults, there's a lot of themes to talk about. I agree with that. I agree. Okay, back to the chat, because I've missed quite a few things. I remember that. All right. Everyone needs to stop being rage baited by crappy One Piece theories. My least favorite part of the community. I mean, listen. In my school, they never talk about Leopold. There's a reason they don't talk about Leopold. None of that shit was said, Jay. Oh, that wasn't addressed at me? Oh, okay, never mind then. My bad. Sorry. All right. Never mind. This is a story for entertainment purposes. It is not supposed to be cut and dry. That makes it good. No one should be pushing an uninformed projection of politics. I agree, James Menor. I don't think it's worth discussing. Also dropped a video with Sai just a week ago on this. The people that are making, yeah, so I remember that. Okay, I've read that. Dragon and God Valley has a lot of potential. I'm so curious to see where it goes. I am too. It doesn't sound like Jay is arguing at all with drawing parallels between One Piece and the world with atrocities. It's just distinction in maintaining the world government as an oppressive analog and not a direct representation of select atrocities. Exactly what I'm trying to do. Yes. All right, now I'm caught up with the chat. Isaiah, what's up, man? Long time no see, brother. How you doing? Well, to be fair, Oda core ideas resonates to much of what. So I know this is kind of like weird English, but I'll mention this. Well, to be fair, Oda's core ideas resonate with young men. The idea of freedom and not wanting to be shackled by that does powerful things to you. It's sometimes an instinct. Look at Braveheart the movie. I can see what you're saying. I'm not surprised they discussed that. I'm not surprised. I think you can draw parallels between the real world and fiction. Oh, 100%. When you write fiction, it has to be inspired by something that you've experienced at the end of the day. Like, you have to be. Like, I generally think you have to. I think I just think this break is making us lose our insanity. I mean, yeah, right? That's normally what happens. Both politics and art come from the human experience. Yes. No, this has been a common issue within the community for a while. I see that Amazon plug. Thanks, Kevin. I'm gonna check that out. The world is generally, yeah, so it is. One Piece is the easiest story that can be projected on. Yes, which is why I think it's also dangerous. Oh yeah, I'm never afraid to hear people go against what I'm saying. The only thing I want us to do is to be able to have a nuanced conversation without misrepresenting other people's points. That's it. What's your opinion on the AI stuff, which to me is more of the issue? A fair point. I think you missed that the Gorosei and Emo are controlling the water parallels to the country and its apparent secret elite. So I do agree with that, and I'll hold off on that. What's your opinion on the AI stuff? So the AI stuff is... We'll get to that because I do think there might be a little bit more conversation to have before we get to that. I'll answer that though. I saw Karen in the chat. Hi Karen, hello. The problem is not people using One Piece and Luffy as a symbol of freedom. The problem is people who are claiming Oda is writing this directly as an analogy to specific current events. Yes, that is my problem. That is 100% my problem. Without hate or personal feelings, just pure debate, yes. Overall, I can get from mankind is that if this was during World War II, we would be having these fence-sitting conversations. Not saying you are. I hope not. Don't Fed post. The only thing I'm gonna say on the Charlie Kirk assassination, Mo Tuchil, is that he did not deserve to die, and yeah, he didn't deserve to die. I think that's just very straightforward and very simple. He didn't deserve to get assassinated. You may have not liked what he said, but he didn't deserve to die. And I think anyone that was laughing and mocking his death, you make me sick. That's it. Very straightforward. That's it. There's nothing else I need to say to that. It's very simple. There's nothing else that needs to be said on that. The celestial dragons are real. Low-key, like, so there's the whole... There's a whole conspiracy theory that there is a secret society and a secret elite. And I think if you're going to compare the celestial dragons and Emu to that, then low-key you could. Low-key. But do we know that's true? We don't know. We don't know. But if somebody said that, I'd be like, that's an interesting theory. That's possible. That's been done in plenty of other series. Who in the world government do you think has actually done more damage? Of the soldiers at the front lines or the pencil pushers of the system? I would say... Gideon, that's just not the case though. So, and that's also not what I said. So I think you're projecting. You know the old concept of if you give the orders, you're still murdering anyway? Because power is more dangerous. I'll put it this way. Power is very dangerous. And it's not power that corrupts. It's people that are corrupt. Power exposes the corrupt. So with power, Uncle Ben, with power comes great responsibility. If you're using that power
to incite violence and to give orders that incite violence on another group of people, you are worse because you also have the power to stop that violence. So I'd say the pencil pushers. And the people that actually commit the acts are collateral damage. And they got to deal with their own. And if anything, they suffer the direct consequences of it because they're the ones who are actually taking the lives. Happy birthday, XXXSKN. Happy birthday, sir. Drop the books you read. I want your knowledge. I wouldn't say I'm a book reader. I'm just someone that pays attention to. I'm really just someone that listens to people that know what they're talking about. And I get educated by people that know what they're talking about and they share things with me. You really just got to surround yourself with people that are a lot smarter than you. Me, myself, I wouldn't consider myself like smarter than anybody. I just surround myself with people that are way more intelligent than me, that know this stuff better, and they give me background. They show me proof. And that's where I get a lot of the stuff from. And then some of the stuff I do read on my own. Sometimes I watch videos explaining the history. Like I didn't know anything about communism or Karl Marx or Stalin until I watched a 3-hour video essay on everything that went on in Russia and the Bolsheviks. That's how I knew. The best way to learn is to meet people that are smarter than you and you trust their morality, and then they'll teach you a lot of things. It gives an acceptability to that. Well, if you feel that way, that's fine. I don't believe that, and that's not the case, and that's also not what I said. So by all means, misrepresent my point. I can't change your mind again. Nor is it my job or my prerogative to change your mind, because it sounds like you've made your mind up already. So as far as I'm concerned, think what you want to think. I know what I believe is true and what I think. And what I think is not what you said. And that's perfectly okay. How many times do you think the elders have been on the front lines despite pulling their strings? They never have. They just never have. Jay doesn't know how to read agenda? Of course, Bray. Jay, hang out with Robin, low key. You got to expand your horizons for real. I'm working on it. I did want to read Me and Frosty. I think I'm going to read 1984 by George Orwell. I still don't really know what a dystopian society is, but I really want to read. I love introspection. I love introspective stories based on social culture. So that's what I want to read. I wanted to read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations until, he was talking about torturing Christians, and I'm like, all right, I'm a little uncomfortable, right? The Romans were not, they were not good to Christians back then. I'll tell you that, boy. So I was like, maybe I'll suck it up and read it later, but I was like, all right, let me just slow down, man. Rasputin is a good movie on him. Ooh, I didn't know they had a movie on Rasputin. I'd actually love to watch that. Murphy, one of them. Murphy is 100% one of them. Do you learn about this stuff in the US? No, not really. They don't really teach us that stuff. You kind of learn the stuff word of mouth. You give off dad vibes on some sensei vibes. Yes. I very much want to be a dad the right way. There is a reason. Okay, hold on. I'm way behind the chat. Did we get Bodega? No, I don't think we did. Okay. You say that, but I'm low-key afraid of folks who consume their ideas from personality-driven YouTubers. That's why you can't go. So that's actually a very good point, and I want to stop and talk about the point. The meme video should be dropping tomorrow. That's a very good point. One of the most and this is coming from someone who is a personality YouTuber, right? This is really dangerous. Be very careful of charisma. Be very careful of personality-driven media, because people who have good personality and people who are very charismatic can make you believe things and make things that are wrong sound really good.
and it's a case of their character that they would not use that power to misinform you and to steer you down the wrong path, which is why you always need to look into what somebody says. Always. You have to look into what somebody says. You got to cite the source. You got to do that, because someone like me, I am a personality driven channel. I have been told I have a lot of charisma. So when I say something, I also have to understand that there are people that are going to take my word and run with it. And I get a lot of slack for that. I get a lot of slack for that. I get a lot of it. And sometimes it's really unfair. But at the same time, it's like, once you're in a position of influence, this is something you have to be so aware of, which is why character is so important. Character is for any leader, for anyone of influence. If you do not have character, you are dangerous, period. So, especially right now in the 21st century, you need to make sure that you're listening to people of character. Judge the character, not the words that come out of their mouth and the way they say it, because it is so easy to get swept up in this nonsense. People are wondering, oh my God, why are so many young men following Andrew Tate? Why do so many people subscribe to the Red Pill and the Fresh and Fit and all kinds of other nonsense that other people see that are destroying people's relationships? It's because they say these things and they practice charisma to sell you nonsense. Let me tell you something. These guys sell courses on manipulating people. These people, there are actual classes to teach you how to convince and manipulate people. There are classes to teach you how to operate in a Machiavellian standpoint. The Art of Seduction is a book that people actually apply stuff to. So you got to be aware of this stuff. You got to be careful. And the dangerous thing about manipulation is when you're being manipulated, you're not supposed to know you're being manipulated. So you got to stay vigilant. You got to stay vigilant. You got to stay vigilant. You got to. You got to. You can't just listen to what everybody says. And here's the worst part. Here's the most dangerous part. The fact that you can be wrong and the fact that someone can be wrong should give you pause to concern. One of the most dangerous things you can do in life is to believe something with all your heart and be wrong. Look at the Nazis. Look at people in the KKK. Look at people who have justified genocide. It is possible to believe something that is wrong. It is very possible. So you got to be careful. Got to be careful, man. That's why values are so important. Things of that stuff. It's very, very important. But being wrong is how we grow, right? So I agree. It's about catching yourself when you're wrong. I agree with that, because you got to fail to succeed. So there's also the other side of the spectrum. I guess we're just talking about being wary of very charismatic people. That's it. Exactly. Being wrong and staying wrong. Exactly. Because if you change your mind, then that's good. I appreciate you, Jay, as a fellow Christian. I'm glad to see someone in a space like you. Thank you for speaking your mind. Of course, anytime. There is somebody that said something. Yeah, ask me. That's why you got to be open-minded. Oh, why do you think it got published after World War II? I don't know. JD is asking me, what do you think about the Nami hates men stuff? I mean, I just think it's not true. It's just not true. Nami doesn't hate men. That's never been written in the story. That's not even a narrative. Nowhere has Nami said she hates men. Ever. Nami only hated pirates. That's it. There is nothing in the story that insinuates that Nami hates men. Nothing. Otherwise, she'd hate Gestapo. Was it? No, Ginzo. Excuse me. Ginzo. I don't know why I said Gestapo. That's wild. What?
Now Boa hates men. That's different. He said Gestapo. Sorry, I meant kids. Rap's like, what? Yo. Yo. Oh my God, nigga. Yo. My bad, bro. Yo, we've been talking about so much political stuff. Like, yo, he just came out. Yo. Luffy. Yo. Yo, this is so dumb. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny, bro. That's it. Nami loved the Gestapo. That is it, bro. Yo, this is it. We're done, bro. We're done. They gonna clip that. Now I'm cooked. That's it. Now I'm actually cooked. Now I'm actually cooked. It's over. They gonna take that clip. It's over. Yo, that's so funny, bro. That is ridiculous. Arlo was just trying to fight the Nazis, specifically using Nami. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, you need to watch out for these. Yeah, man, you need to watch out for these personality YouTubers, bro. You need to. You need to. They're out of control. Shout out to Snoopy Sate for becoming a member. Thank you, sir. When's the meme video dropping? It should be tomorrow. Meme video should be tomorrow. Should be tomorrow. But yeah, no, Nami doesn't hate men. That's it's clear. I think it's very obvious. Do you find the hatred the fan base gives the celestial dragons miss some of the morals of the previous chapters? Like people hate them? I would say yes. Here's the thing though. That's dangerous territory. That's dangerous territory to get into, right? The celestial dragons are disgusting and they're just morally reprehensible. So any sort of empathy towards them is never going to be treated well. But the morals of the story that Oda is trying to implicate would not justify them being crucified and brutalized. Like you just can't, like you literally can't do that. It's a moral contradiction because then you're no different. You're just no different. So I'd say you can't do that. You just can't. You can't do that. There was a trending video of Blackbeard crucifying every dragon. It felt dark. Like people want that. Some people are overcome. So here's another thing. Sometimes you want to kill the monster so bad that you become the monster yourself. And that is a thing. Thanks, Connor. I did my best. I know I wasn't too, I knew making this stream, I don't think I articulate everything perfectly, but for the sake of the conversation, I just winged it, bro. I just went for it. It's not really my field, man. I'm not a political person. So it was always going to be messy. It's fine. It's fine, right? I did my best. That's what counts. But yeah, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. The bullied often becomes the bully if they don't process things correctly. That is a very common thing. Don't do that. Don't get so obsessed with slaying the monster that you become the monster yourself. I mean, that's the whole revenge gimmick. How many times? Like, did you guys not watch Naruto? Look what happened to Dofi. Oh my God! What? Look what happened to Dofi. Matter of fact, that's perfect. Oda already addressed it. The people that were killing,
that were crucifying Homing and Rocinante and Dofi in that village, y'all no different. Y'all are no different. Supporting that. Y'all are no different. Y'all the same people Oda wrote about. Oda didn't paint them in the best light. Now, do these celestial dragons need to be put in prison and held responsible? 100%. Doesn't mean you brutalize them, but you definitely lock them up. They definitely got to suffer something. They definitely got to suffer. I'll tell you that. But you got to be better. You have to make sure that you are better than them. You got to make sure that you're better than them. You have to be. That's true, Amir. That's true. But we don't always know that. Exactly. Hanging with Uncle Bob. Dragon getting justice for Jenny. Can I get an amen? I hope so. You play Glossiote? Nope. You said F all being that better person gimmick? Sorry, buddy. I believe in it. Have the celestial dragons find employment, have them receive a W-2 every year, and have them file taxes? Yeah, that'll make them crazy. I think their punishment should be rebuilding cities. I think they should rebuild everything. Manual labor. Orochi is a perfect example. Orochi is a good example, yes. You got to make them rebuild it. And it's hard for me to say because honestly, if someone killed the celestial dragons, would I feel bad? I don't know. I don't know. From what I've seen, I don't know. Especially the ones that have been like killing people willy-nilly, I don't know. I'd struggle. I'd struggle with it. I'd struggle. I'd struggle. The Christian in me says you should never be supporting violence and the harm of another. So, based on my ideals and values, I don't think I have to feel bad, but I'd have to say it's wrong. Thoughts on AI One Piece memes? I just think a lot of them are in bad taste and a lot of them are garbage. That's what I think. What did Frosty say that might make me crash out? And then Luffy will say, Kurizumi was born to burn. Yeah, don't piss me off, Frosty. All right. No, I don't have to care. I don't. I would just say you reap what you sow and move on. Let's see. I mean, not all celestial dragons are eternally morally reprehensible. Musar was a dickhead, then realized the good. I feel kind of bad knowing generations of his kids became evil, and now they deserve suffering because of their family lineage. Yeah. Yeah. No, that they're being raised in that culture, so there's also that. I don't know if it's the case that Garp views pirates as a bigger threat than the celestial dragons. I think Garp is saying that the pirates are the threat that is right in front of him, but the bigger threat of the celestial dragons is going to require more than brute force. But then again, I'm just yapping because I don't know if that's really what he's thinking. I'm just making an assumption. That's what I think, though. Back to Luffy, all I'm saying is having morals isn't inherently political, but fighting for your morals is a political action. Fighting for a kid's right to eat and be happy is political. I don't think I necessarily disagree with that. It's a political action. It's an act that supports the politics of somebody. Well, it's really not, though. I mean, you could still call it just a moral action, though. It could really just be it could be literally just an inherently moral action. For example, the concept of Jesus dying on the cross for our sins is not a political action, but it's a spiritual one. It's for the saving of our souls, but some people would use it as politics. The concept of a martyr. So moral actions are not political. I just think morality and politics are separate. Is Jesus performing miracles political? No. Politics will creep into everything. I do agree with that, Gideon. Aren't morals inherently political? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think having the moral of saying murder is bad is not a political statement. That's just a moral statement. It's an ethical statement. Creating a law based on that morality, that's political. That's because it's, so I think so. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, because I hope I say this correctly. I think it's you have morals here, and then from your morals you have ethics, and then from ethics then you can create like political. You can create law, right? Just let me know if that's correct. I'm trying to understand. I'm kind of processing here. Does that make sense, or did I have it? Do I have it wrong? Exactly, Pingu. That's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, morality is at the very, very top, and then under that umbrella, your morality decides your ethics, and then from ethics, you create law under those ethics. So I think saying that morals are political is like going backwards. It comes from the top down. It comes from the top down. That's my point. Triple X3 OP. Like it's about policy. Politics are about actually enacting policy. That's what I don't think people are trying to get. You can make a moral action but not enact policy. Do you think morals can be fighting for your people? I think those morals are the fact. I think a moral is that human life is valuable, and then based on that moral, you can have the values of protecting your friends. That's it. Because your morals are what inform your values. So the moral concept of human life is valuable will now give you the value that protecting my friends is important. That's why morality is at the very top. Like it's right up here. Morality is the big word, and then you have little words come underneath morality.
Yeah, Luffy is a moral figure. Luffy's a moral figure. He is not a political figure. People are using Luffy's moral actions to make him a political figure. I don't think so. I don't know if that's the case, Murillo, because I think I can make, if I see a child that's hungry and I buy him some McDonald's, that's a moral action. That doesn't mean, and I could also believe that no child should go hungry, but that action I made isn't political. It's a moral action. But if someone puts a camera to me giving this child a McDonald's bag, look at this man supporting the bill to feed children on the streets, all of a sudden they've made my action political when that wasn't my intention. Because I'm not a political person. Wouldn't Luffy being a Yonko automatically make him a political figure? To the world, yes. In Luffy's head, no. Because Luffy is now in a position of influence, whether he likes it or not, and he hates it. It's also the same thing with the devil fruit that he's eating. He's a figure of influence, a spiritual influence, and he don't want to be. Can a child have a political stance? Can a 6-year-old be a Democrat or Republican? I would say no, and that's how I describe Luffy. I mean, that's fair. Luffy, let's see. Luffy doesn't have a political agenda. He does do political agendas for his friends. So that's what I said. Luffy's a tool for people to. Luffy can be a tool for people's politics. He can be. He 100% can be. Feeding hungry people is a human thing. I agree with that. Thanks for the $2 donation. I don't see the value in sectioning morals and politics. I do think it's an important conversation to have. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be the guy. He just wants to be Pirate King. Yeah. Vessel is a better word for that point. Yes. So, Mr. Joker, that's exactly what I would say Luffy is. Luffy does have the mind of a child. He has a very childlike mentality. Very much so. Morals and politics have zero connections, just saying. I'd say morals are what can inform on what laws to be created, so I don't think I would disagree with that. I don't think I would agree with that. They do have connections. I disagree with that statement. You cannot create... Yeah. Luffy is an aware child? To a degree. I'll show the diagram again. You have morality. Morality informs the values, which inform your ethics, which inform law and policy that you create in a political world. That's the structure. That's how it goes. So yes, morality and politics do have connections 100%. Politics are several layers lower than morals, but yes. But don't morals influence a person's political stance? Yeah.
If you choose to be political, your morals are normally what's going to guide you. You'd like to think, at least. It's the tankies on Twitter? What is a tanky? Most laws are based on morality? I'd say maybe, pretty sure every law is based on some modicum of morality. Excuse me. Jay, have you ever heard of Overton Window? It sounds familiar. No, I have not. It's not a good conversation? All right, then I won't say anything. Call me. Yeah, no, we're not having a conversation. Sorry, I'm good. Yeah, we're not doing that. Sorry, I'm out. I'm already out. Turn it off. We're not doing all that. We're not doing all that. I ain't going down there, man. This ain't the Bay of Pigs, all right? We ain't doing all that. We're not doing that at all. People will say One Piece isn't political or just trying to keep it simple. Well, yeah. I mean, they just because people that normally say that, just want One Piece to be the goofy, silly pirate manga that they want it to be. That's it. But I just think that the Red Scare, yeah, could be that. I was really just referencing. Well, maybe I should have said the Cold War. The Cold War was better. But yes. I just find it hilarious because a lot of people oh man, a lot of people want One Piece to be this goofy pirate manga, but it's not. It is, but it's also not. Overton Window is essentially the window which people view their own priorities and values weighed against the current status of living conditions. More or less could be butchering it slightly. Is essentially the window which people view their own priorities. Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that makes sense. A lot of people do that these days. It is. To be honest, Luffy really wouldn't pick a side, so it's more to see who's being oppressed at the moment. Darday, that's what I'm saying. So it's really about who presents their case the best at that point, Darday. What fan base? What fan base are we slandering? Jay, go to sleep. I'm getting a little tired. Have I read Billy Bat? No, but I want to read. I love Urasawa. Pluto is amazing. Monster is amazing. And I've read like 2 big volumes of 20th Century Boys. I got to read all of Urasawa's work. I got to. The Crescent Moon fan base? I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know, man. Am I feeling dangerous? Because that's a dangerous thing to mention. Oh, it's not the AI talk. The AI talk is very simple, man. It's weird. It's really weird. But there's also been some hilarious memes. Like the Don't Worry Little Mihawk fan, Uncle Oda. That is hilarious. That's one of my favorite AI memes. Okay. You already canceled yourself 3 times? Uh-oh. Okay, where's KG? KG and Zen. If you know what I'm about to say about a certain fan base and a commonality that I've noticed in fan base, just let me know. Should I do it or not? We need to put Murphy on the Don. We do need to put Murphy on Don. Hi, Karen. Hi. He said, do it. Can I say my One Piece theory, or is this one full political? We're kind of just yapping right now, man. Look. He said do it. Look. Media training. Yeah, that's right. Karen is my media trainer. Karen's like, Karen, what do you think? Because I think that's a crazy statement to make. I think it's a crazy statement to make. What's your next collab? There is some big news coming up. There is a date for the next Agenda Reverie. Hand over your internet. Karen, give me an answer. Yes or no? He said fine. Okay. When's the next Kagura About You review? I have to actually catch up with Gachi Akuta because I'm really enjoying reading Gachi Akuta and watching it. It's really, really good. Look. I just want look. All I'm saying is, if you notice, and I just want everyone to I just want you to think, right? So what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna play deductive reasoning, and I want everyone to put on their Sherlock Holmes hat. Right? Right? We're all gonna get our magnifying glass out. And if you've been on One Piece Twitter for long enough, there is a common theme that I'll notice, right? So when you see someone who is a Zoro fan, a Mihawk fan, a Rayleigh fan in general, and they all have very similar character traits: stoic, aura farm, not really that emotional, very Sigma, right? There's a common demographic that I've seen that attaches themselves to these characters. And it is very funny because there is normally a common demographic that enjoys these characters. No, not 16-year-old emo. It's just they normally. Ooh, man, this is wild, man. This is like this is crazy. You scared? I don't know. I'm a little scared. There's normally a flag in the name. You know what I'm saying? He's like, we get it. Like, I'm just gotta, they just love to project. No, not MAGA. No, I'm not talking about MAGA. I'm not talking about MAGA. Like, they're normally, I'm gonna say it, man. They're normally Arabic. All right. Nothing against them. Normally Muslim as well. I see it a lot all the time. And normally, when most Islamic men, they like the stoic gimmick. They normally, and yeah, you're already thinking of Fiji. You're thinking of Silvers, right? It's the same thing that I see all the time. Yeah, look at that. So it's like, it's just a trend. Yeah, see, y'all didn't really think it's normally a trend. Look at Karen. Look, Karen, look. She's caught. She's already caught. She said the same. So it's like, I'm just saying it's a common thing that I saw. That's it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's just, it seems like every Zoro fan, most Zoro fans, normally have a very similar, they're normally in a group. You can ask them. You go out there and ask them right now. You've seen it. What is the little hat Sen? What's the hat? What's the hat that Zoro what's the hat that Muslims wear normally? What is it called? Is it the kufi? How many times have you seen the Zoro meme with the kufi or Zoro on the prayer mat? How many times have you seen them memes? You don't see him with Sanji, do you? You don't see him with Luffy, do you? That's all I'm saying. And most Zoro, Mihawk, Rayleigh fans, they're all under the same umbrella. That's all I'm gonna say. Do they love Goku? I don't know. Sen, do they love Goku? Is there a reason I like Lucci? Because I like leopards. And maybe because I'm African. It could be that. There's also Nigerians. Nigerians love Zoro. DVD Somalis. Yo. And they really love to project that as well. Skater boy, all you got to do is go on Twitter. You'll see it. You'll see it. He said, I'm starting to see it now. But do they love Abdul? Yo, Karen said, but do they love Abdul and Jeet? First of all, I don't think Jeet is even an Arabic. Jeet is dangerous. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jeet, isn't that more Indian than Arabic, or am I tripping? Abdullah is definitely Arabic. Nigerians love Jeet. I'm Nigerian, so I know. Basically, cultures that promote masculinity more are just gonna align to Zoro more. That's just in general. Bajit. No Muslims like Abdul and Jeet especially. Of course not. It's definitely Indian. That's what I'm saying. Why do the Ghanaians think Sanji is better? I don't know, man. I just find if you're more in tune with your emotions and your feelings, you're just gonna tend to like Sanji more. That's why a lot of women love Sanji. I would say that a lot of women that... Oh, you know what? Let me go. Yeah, let's not go there. I'm gonna lose that one. So I'm not gonna go there. But that's why a lot of women love Sanji. Yeah. And then there's certain and then there's certain people. More women simp for Zoro, but you know why. Watch your mouth. Listen, I know what you are. Karen's name is Centauri Wifey. That's all I'm gonna say. So, chat, what do you think that says about Karen? If her name is Centauri Wifey, what did y'all think? What's the conclusion we get about Karen with the name Centauri Wifey? What are we thinking here? Look, see, now she's getting rattled. Look, now she's getting rattled. For those on YouTube, all you gotta do is look at my stream and you can see her in the chat. I think the problem is a lot of my fellow Muslims have an idea that being a man means being more stoic and quiet, which is kind of dumb since our prophet was more open about his feelings than anyone else. Cole from Delta X. He knows. He's called y'all out. There it is. Inshallah, you niggas will learn. Inshallah, you niggas will grow. Drop the stoic gimmick and stop aura farming. Get in touch with your feelings like your prophet. Gold. Yeah, KG is rattled. I knew it. I know KG's rattled. I know it. I knew it. He's rattled. We got him, bro. Cold from Delta. Cold. Read your Quran. Hold that. Yo, he said, bitch, stream. This stream is probably the most toxic. Not even toxic. This is probably just the most outlandish stream I think I've ever done. Ever. It is what it is, man. I ain't taking this down, man. I ain't scared. It is what it is. There have been worse streams than this, now I think about it, but yeah. Sanji reflects the romantic and passionate cultures? Yeah. Sanji's a Frenchman. How much do you know about the Prophet Muhammad? Not much. I just have a lot of exposure. And I have a lot of Muslim friends. So I have a lot of exposure. Who is Peba? You're not on your Dean if you're a Zoro fan? Hey, man. I am Muslim and I don't love Zoro Mihawk. Honestly, cold from you, bro. Oh, peace be upon him. Oh my god, yo. I didn't know, bro. What? I was like, what? Yeah. I just don't understand. He just threw it up there. I was like, what? You guys act like I know your Muslimisms. Like, I don't understand. That's not something I'm supposed to know. Oh my god, bro. Muslimisms. Go to bed. I don't know, bro. Canceled first things in the morning. Yeah. Go to sleep, bro. Go to sleep. I'm here, man. I'm here. Obviously, guys, I'm being playful. I do not mean to be disrespectful. That's not what I'm going for. Hopefully, I'm not being disrespectful. If I am, I apologize. That was not my intention. We're having a meeting at 10 a.m. Yes. Calling them Islamites is insanity. Now Glam needs to get banned. Yes, get Glam out of here. Let's get Glam out of here. He's done. Yo, I love it. We know, don't worry, I bet. Jay is gonna be when Zoro solos Emu and Blackbeard in 2v1. I'll drop the story if that happens, so it's all good. It's all good. Ali with $2. Power scaling Zoro son or Sanji shipping daughter? Honestly, give me a power scaling Zoro son. Shippers or creatures? I think shippers or creatures of the Knights. I can't do it. I can't. I'll take the power scaling any day. Do you think Luffy is inclusive on purpose, or does he simply not care about people's appearances? I think the latter, Luis Rosales, but thanks for the $5. I think shippers are one of the most terrifying creatures in the community. They scare me. I'm scared. If it's not a romance anime, don't do shipping, please. Do you support me ex Zoro? No, I don't, Karen. I support you ex Abdullah. Or Jeet. One or the other. What did you not just say? Go to Abdul, not Abdullah. Excuse me, Abdul or Jeet. One of those two. Go to cameras now. Exactly, Ali. Exactly. Oh, it is Abdullah. Fantastic. All right, I'm fine. Karen X Gaimon is insanity. How about Philistines in One Piece? Glam, do not show me that biblical thread. I will get upset. Please. I don't need that. I don't need that right now. I think we've covered everything today. Yeah, the irreversible damage. You should have seen what shippers did to Naruto. Yeah, Jay, Zoro is an alcoholic, so I don't know what my fellow Muslims are doing. I mean, they just like the character. That's fine. Sanji's a weirdo, man. At the end of the day, Sanji is a weirdo, but I like Sanji, so it is what it is. This is my top 3 disaster PR streams. It is what it is, man. Anytime, Unreal. Power scaling and shipping for men? Low key. Is Frankie a canon shipper? I don't know what that means. Karen, stop. All right. Ichiruko is worse? It could be. Anytime, Sky. Anytime. In my opinion, shipping two characters who have shown interest in each other is fine as long as you don't take it too far and make your own personality. Amen. Kizaru X401k. I like that shit. JX Rats. Yeah, I don't know, man. Jay wants us to forgive Slave Master Celestials but won't forgive Chopper? That's not what I said, man. I ain't gonna lie. For real, they act like K-pop Demon Hunters will beat 90% of the characters in the series? That's toxic. How about you X the Holy Scripture? Me X the Bible? Absolutely, bruh. Me X Jesus, the GOAT. Shout out to Jesus, man. My Lord and Savior, bruh. Their Ted Bundy spawns in the making? Jesus. Okay, we don't have to go that far. Dang. We name dropping Bundy now? Okay, hold on. Roomy upscale? Yo, Karen, shut up. Please. Biba. Oh my God, yo. Jesus upscale gold. Oh my God. Yeah, cold. Definitely Jesus upscale, bro. Oh my God. Cooper agrees with me. I know he does. They are Bundy babies. Yeah, we good, bro. Jesus Conqueror is confirmed. He does, bro. We always praising God, Yoshi. J Deacon Legend. That's funny. The D stands for Deacon would be a funny gimmick, but I'm not gonna go for that. I think one of my favorite jokes ever is that there's so many Aura farmers in the Bible. It's like, it's so funny. Like thinking of like Elijah going up on a chariot of fire, Moses Aura farming with his staff. Like it's just so funny. Like the Bible is just full of Aura farmers, man. David and Goliath picks up 5 stones to Aura farm. That's it, bruh. Oh my goodness. Samson with an ass's jawbone. Come on, man. Nah, the chariot of fire gimmick is toxic. Yo, Bible report cards would actually be so funny. That's one of the things I want to do one day. I do want to make like a comedic Bible channel that like educates people on the stories of the Bible, but also make it comedic. Like talking about how violently unserious the Israelites were. Like that would be funny. That would be funny. I think that would be funny. It'd be a funny way to educate people on the Bible, but also have a good time at the same time. I think that would be hilarious. That would be so funny, bro. You imagine Peter putting hockey on his blade before cutting the guy's ear? Do you think most people would be able to not be offended? I don't think so, Frosty. I think people would get very offended. I think so. But if God created laughter, you got to learn how to laugh. If you don't think God laughs, then do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. If you can't laugh, you're boring. I don't want to be near you, you know? Oh, really? Ty Moya? Okay, yeah, I might want to see that. That sounds funny. That sounds funny. Moses having a black staff. Yeah, God imbued his hockey under Moses' staff, and he auriformed with it. Low key, Moses' staff is low key like Enma, an Odin's hockey. If you think about it, if you really think about it. God, lend me your hockey. This is base Pharaoh. This is base Ramesses we're up against, bro. Base Ramses II. Yeah. Moses split the sea. Mihawk upscale is crazy. Yo. Oh, I love it. All right, man. That's enough for today. We've lost control, bro. This is base Ramesses we're up against. How did we get here? I don't know, Beam Clash, but I think that's it. I think we're good. I think we're good, man. I think we're good. I think we're good. Jesus using chakra to walk on the water is toxic. Yeah, we're good. We're good. I think we're good. I think we're good. All right. Guys, this has been an experience. I'm not gonna lie, this has been a crazy experience. But ultimately, I think this is a good conversation. I think some people in the comment sections will be very upset. I think some people will probably call me an idiot, and I think that's fine. If they don't, that's great. But really what I wanted to do is to have this conversation. I hope this conversation, I know I may have fumbled through a few points. I may have not said everything in the best way, but hopefully it's prompted you to have a conversation, to think about what's going on, to think about what Oda is really trying to convey. I hope some people got educated. I hope people's minds are open. I believe my mind has been opened by a lot of people in the chat as well. And I just thought it was a great discussion. So shout out to the chat. Honestly, shout out to the chat, actually. I think you guys really handled yourself well. I think we had a great discussion. You guys were great, and you made this fun. So big shout out to the chat for the people that actually gave me their opinions. It was fun. It was fun talking about it. This has been great. This was a great time, guys. So I appreciate y'all. I don't know when the next Beyond Legend will be. I may do a chapter reaction. I'll be in Ohio for the weekend, but I heard this next chapter is going to be really crazy, so I might just do an impromptu stream in the hotel, but that may mean I may not do an agenda piece preview. So just as a note, agenda piece memes video should be coming out tomorrow for September edition, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, man, just make sure you're thinking about what you guys say, man. That's it. And Bakano tomorrow. Yes, I'll be streaming Bakano with Murphy tomorrow. So I'll definitely be seeing you guys. Love you as always. And until next time, I'm out.